Hello, beautiful humans, and I hope you are all staying safe during this wild time. This is another science video to walk you through some of the science curriculum that our district has sent home for the home learning assignments. Today I'm going to be focusing on day 7, which is about creating an illustration or model about the layers of the Earth. Now, if we think back to what we've talked about in class, we know that there are several layers of the Earth. At the most simple level, we identified 4. We talked about the crust, we talked about the mantle, the outer core, and the inner core. But we also discussed that that's only the simplest version of thinking through the layers of the Earth, and that actually we can be more specific and identify kind of crossover areas like the Asthenosphere and the Lithosphere. So for this home learning assignment, you're creating a diagram that doesn't just have those 4 simple layers, but also includes the Asthenosphere and Lithosphere. So remember, for the lithosphere is going to be the hard part of the crust and the uppermost part of the mantle. The lithosphere makes up our lithospheric plates, which make up the whole surface of the Earth. When we think about plates passing by each other, creating things like earthquakes or volcanoes or, you know, other things. Anyway, it's the lithospheric plates that are going to be that kind of uppermost layer right at the bottom of the crust and upper part of the mantle. Now, getting into the asthenosphere. The asthenosphere is going to be where convection currents happen in the mantle. Convection currents, you're saying, what? Okay, so remember when we talked about convection currents, we're talking about the idea of convection. With convection, we know that hot things, so like when we heat up different molecules, are going to rise. And when we remove that heat, it's going to sink. Think about why that is. Think about why when we apply heat to something, those molecules are going to be rising, and why when we remove heat, they're going to be falling. If you thought of density, then you are 100% correct. So as we apply heat to things, the molecules that make up whatever that compound is, whether it's the semi-solid rocks in the asthenosphere, the atoms that make those up are starting to move apart a little bit. They're becoming less dense because they're getting excited. And when they're less dense, they're able to kind of lift up. Think of like how a balloon, right, like might like fly through the air. So when it's less dense than the things around it, it's going to rise up. Well, when we remove that heat, those atoms are going to come closer together, right? When we did in class, we talked about how like when you remove the heat, you're cold. So those atoms are going to come closer together, which causes them to be denser, which means it's going to sink back down. So that's that process of convection, right? Where heat is going to rise, and when we remove heat and it's cooler, it's going to fall. So convection currents happen in the asthenosphere. So as you're creating your model today, don't forget about not just the crust, mantle, outer core, and inner core, but also be thinking about the lithosphere and asthenosphere. I look forward to seeing your models, and I encourage you to use the information at the end of this video to make sure that your model is scaled correctly. So think about, okay, which of the 4 layers is the thinnest, which is the thickest. So use the information at the end of this video to create your model and send it to your advisory teacher. Have a fantastic day.